All right, so today I have Julie Webb with me, and Julie is an animal communicator, an energy healer, one of the teachers in the school, and her unique thing is that she's also a Lutheran pastor, and that's what she was first. And so I want to get to that in a moment, but thank you for doing this, first of all.
Thanks for inviting me.
hmm And so I would love to really, what made you want to be an animal communicator or even take the class?
Uh, it was this, a growing number of kind of incidents. Once I found out that animal communication was a thing, which was about 2017, there were just these run-ins I kept having where it would have helped so much if I would have known how to understand what the animal was trying to tell me, right? Like there was a cat who showed up on my front porch, looking injured and clearly seeking shelter and sleeping in the basket chairs on the porch in Napa. And I didn't, you know the best thing to do. I wasn't allowed to approach. And I thought, oh, if I had those skills, I know I'm supposed to be studying this. So I finally got myself in gear and signed up. I did my research. I I looked online. I found all the reputable ones saying you can learn to do this. Anyone can learn to do this. You and I had a talk. Uh, and then I ended up just enrolling in the beginning animal communication, the AC level one course. I don't think I did any little dip my toe in things before that. I think I just jumped right in to that, didn't I? I
I
think.
think so. I think, yeah, you may have jumped into the whole program.
I did shortly after, like
That's
within
right.
a month or two, I think. Yeah. Uh-huh. That was at the beginning of 2020, which was kind of the perfect time to start studying a new thing.
Right.
So, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you didn't get to come to the intensive because we had to do it online.
that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, um, and then, so where were you in that stage? Had you felt like you had communicated with animals before? Had you knew about it? Like from 2017 to 2020, what happened in there?
2017 was when my old college friend passed through town for a visit and saw my late cat Tigger and me chatting back and forth just vocally because Tigger was a big talker and kind of an overwhelming amount when he first moved in with me. And I just thought I'd never keep up, but we got used to each other, and so we just kind of chatter back and forth and mostly understand each other. And Scott was like, Julie, I got to share this video with you. And so he showed me a video of an animal communicator. And I thought, oh, they probably could have staged that. But if they didn't, that would explain why when I was a kid, I would interpret what the cats were saying to the family. Um, and and it usually seemed to track. And when people would think it was a fun game, other humans, and they would jump in and make stuff up that the cats were saying, I would internally be like, that's not what they're saying at all. Can't you tell? So, um, not like I was hearing crystal clear, always understanding what animals were saying, but there were enough of those moments when I felt like I was in sync with other species, that I was curious. So I watched a full length documentary that would be harder to stage. Then I started doing my research and I talked about it and I shared what I was finding at church, um, with folks because of the theological implications, you know.
Which I want to get to, but I want to go back to what you said, like that they staged it. So That to me indicate, that you question whether they could have staged it or not, indicates that perhaps there's a doubter in you.
Yes, and a skeptic, like I would characterize myself, I guess, as a sort of I'm not the kind of skeptic that's shut down, and I will maintain my skeptical position no matter what proof you show me. But I'm the I will try to stay open and also have a lot of questions because I'm a why person.
Well, and I liken it to myself. I'm a healthy skeptic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a healthy dose of just almost like curiosity with with a bent for proving, I guess. But at the
Hmm.
same time, so much of what we both do is unprovable, including your life as a pastor, which again, we will get to. So what in that, so then when you came to the work, how much doubt did you have?
I I had a whole bunch of doubt. And I think I tend to turn the doubt mostly on myself, Like I doubt my own skills and abilities more than anyone else's. What really blew my mind in terms of the work itself was showing up to class week after week till the live classes and having multiple people um, listen at the same time to this animal none of them had ever met, and they had only the barest details about, name and sex and age and how long they've been with the family, and and then each would share first what they got, and then we would get feedback, and um, you could tell as they were sharing that they were all like petrified and feeling stupid and whatever. And it was honestly what they had found, and they were different. But you could also tell that we were describing the same animal, and sometimes even with the same words. And then I would show up the next week and we would describe another animal, and it would be different descriptions. Like if you'd been in that first week, you wouldn't have known that. But the second week, you could tell these were not the same descriptions we gave last week. And we're all getting a different animal. And so that, blew it wide open for me. But then I always just was doubting my own abilities and thinking that surely I was not as naturally gifted at this as, everybody else in the class.
And meanwhile, they're all looking at you like, how did she get all of that?
Every so often we would, share our feelings on that, and I would figure out that that was going all ways, all the different ways. But
Yeah.
still, yeah. So I still struggle with that, obviously, and have to I I part one of my techniques is kind of to laugh that off, and if I'm with an animal, apologize to them for being silly and come back.
So the doubt is still there, but you've shifted its importance.
Yeah, I mean, it to me. uh, I don't want to be too hard on myself, but I recognize that it kind of gets in the way of the work and can even be sort of a burden that I potentially place on this other animal who's trying to communicate with me.
Hmm.
And I'm all here wrapped up in myself. Whatever, it's not a service to them, I guess. And yeah.
And so somewhere through the course of the school, that shifted to make it about the animal versus about yourself.
Which I have to say is one thing that I just really appreciate about your priorities and about the school. she didn't coach me to say this, y'all, but uh, that you, with your whole heart, try to keep the focus on the animal and try to help us clear up sort of, whatever needs to be dealt with in the background and with ourselves so that we can just be focused on uh, this particular animal that we're listening to. Yeah.
Yeah, to me that's everything. Um, and so then I really want to bring in like when you first brought this up to fellow theologians, what did they say? Were they into it? Was like because one of the conversations we had at the very beginning was just the opportunity here to bring this to Christianity, which it's not a match at you know what I mean? It's not a match, but it's not a match at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think
We have some work to do.
we have some work to do. We have hundreds, if not thousands, of years of actually harmful theology, and we're seeing the fallout from that in the natural world all around us. And when I say that to people now, I usually get a sincere agreement and head nods. They know that that's true. Um, but we still have to make all the connections, kind of. So, what was the question? Sorry.
What did the people around you think?
Mm.
And then, what are you doing with it together? And that sort of, just directing the conversation there.
Yeah, I got some of the same stuff that you will have experienced a lot, where some people you can tell their eyes are just going to shift right away, and it's oh dear, I always thought Julie was such a sensible person, and now she's probably gone off the rails. But most of them did not have that response, and maybe it helps that I've, you know, my ministry has been in California for decades, and my colleagues know me, and they know that I'm pretty feet on the ground and reliable and responsible and whatever. So they don't write me off right away, and in fact um, they, my Lutheran colleagues in this area, were so kind as to invite me to present a workshop on animal communication at a clergy gathering. And several of them, including some in the bishop's office, have asked me to listen to their animals and had sessions with me and referred me to colleagues and so forth.
That's exciting.
I know. And one of them, came up to me at an event um, a few months ago and said that uh, my relationship with my dog has been different ever since that workshop.
Hmm.
No, my dog understands me. Here's what we do together every morning, and I sit with them and we just kind of commune, and I know we understand each other, and um, so that's so moving. Yeah. And then the wild church um, leaders asked me to lead a workshop at their retreat a couple summers ago in Canada as well. And that's a movement that's kind of very much in line with interspecies communication, where folks around the world actually are now starting to gather outside and just get quiet and pay attention to the world around them and sit with a tree or sit with an animal or whatever. So
And I mean, I often think that the church, they would sacrifice animals, so you don't want to have animal communication because you'd hear the animals' cries, right? Like beyond they're the what we would call sacrifice is really on some level a suffering and torture of somebody. So at some point, I feel like it just became easier to write off animal communication completely so that then we could like, don't look over here. Um,
Oh, yeah. Although there's also scriptures saying, I don't want any more dead animals. Like, I don't want any more sacrifices. What I want is your hearts um, to change. So, yeah, there's
yeah,
that.
and
And
I
then
believe there's plenty in there also, but I feel like there was enough of that that it's like it just got denounced at some point. And do you see it being having, I mean, like in I was raised Catholic, and so I was happy to see that the Pope, the last Pope, got on board with the idea that animals have a soul. Like these sorts of things are all things that we animal people as little kids knew. We
yes,
didn't need a pope, but it did. I fought with nuns about the fact that they would say that my dog or my horse or my cat wasn't going to heaven. And I was like, then I'm not going. So and you're dumb, Sister
yeah,
Clementi. But
good.
I'm five, six, all of
Mhm.
six,
It was
fighting
good
with
for her
Sister
soul.
Clementi.
That was
Yeah,
good. Yeah. Mhm.
but but that was, that's what we were raised with. So how how do you see what do we have to do for Christianity to embrace it, I guess? And there's the big question.
I'll try to cover that in 2 minutes. Um, well, I think one of the things we need to address is that I think Christianity, uh, colleagues who, you know, have done more thorough study on this than me, but has sort of perpetrated distortion for um, centuries on the actual um, Hebrew texts, right? I, Rabbi Ellen Bernstein, um, who died less than a year after I met her, I was really looking forward to some great conversations with her. But she was the founder of an ecological movement within Judaism, Reform Judaism, and she did the scholarship, and she said it's all there in the Hebrew, all the land, the animals, the connection among everything, this inseparable bond. It's all there in the Hebrew, and it gets translated out. Um, and and the result of that has been a whole bunch of Christian teaching that has set humanity up as more important than and separate from the rest of creation, which is not apparently really there in the original.
And it wouldn't be in Christ's heart.
And no, which the original Francis understood, right?
Yeah,
Enough that he was able to practice interspecies communication. The stories are all there.
totally
Yeah.
communicating with
Um,
animals.
if you're embodying this life that is the divine life, however you want to describe it, and if you are connected in the way you're supposed to be connected with everything, that's going to flow. The interspecies communication, the healing, all that kind of stuff. So, so this false separation, this objectification of other beings, all of that stuff has to get healed. And, uh, you know, the Christ, um, the incarnation of Christ and Christ in us, as Christianity would teach, is an expression of that kind of healing. If you work it out, as um, some of the first writers said, if you work out the root of the word salvation is healing. So
Oh,
it's like salve, healing.
oh, oh. Hmm.
And
And
yeah,
that gets missed entirely.
it gets missed entirely. And then it also gets distorted into this, are you an individualized thing, which of course is also completely non-scriptural. individualism is not a thing in the scriptures, is the individual going to a place of heaven or to a place of hell, right? Um, the
And
yeah,
also going back to that word salvation, there's a victimhood in it. There's a less than, like, you know what I mean? Like
it
there's,
gets taught to people.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, which is not, I think, at all intended in the yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So it's very interesting to me, just how a lot of it got, I mean, just so watered down. And if there was a living Christ right now, if Jesus was walking the earth, so much of what the teaching would really be peace and love and healing and breathing and connecting. And it's so, it's not this, like you call it, a distortion of concepts, and it's not it then something like the Bible isn't a living breathing document but a law, and we're very
Becomes an
separate from it.
idol in itself. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that's really fascinating, and I so then we're removed from it, and then yet animals draw us into connection. So there's just a big paradox right there. And I'm
Mhm.
speaking of, I'm being kicked out of my chair. Anyway,
Right, Elsa. Are you
she's
sliding, Elsa
she's
dear?
having some big dreams. Dreams of running. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah, I interact now with the scriptures in sort of ways that are fresh and exciting for me then because of this work and and then uh,
well,
it,
I love what you write about it and what you share on social media and the things that yeah, I mean, I love all of it. So I mean, I think, hopefully people will find this interesting and we can continue the conversation.
I
Uh,
don't want it to seem too heady because as you and I both know, it's really not about something that's just heady. It's oh my gosh, we knew in our heads before that we were connected to everything that is, and now we like feel it in our bodies. We experience it in new depths, and it makes us love the world so much more.
yeah.
And I think that's needed right now. So.
Yeah, very much. Well, do you have any advice for somebody that's watching this that wants to connect with the school or wants to take another a closer step toward being in that connected state?
Well, you have, a bunch of avenues that you've got in place now that you didn't have when I first came on board. I loved it was the equivalent of what you now offer, like a little, introductory call. Um, uh, these days it's with one of the staff members, right? But you've matched people beautifully to their roles. So I think that's a great starting place. The introduction to animal communication, or like a weekend immersive or workshop. I think those are good ways to start as well. And I notice people getting their feet wet that way and trying something and then deciding based on that kind of what path they want to take. And now it's really truly a university, right? Because you have little mini colleges. You have sort of the um,
Tracks.
the tracks, the animal communication, the energy work, then you can get certificates in whatever. So I feel like it's broken down into really manageable pieces. And Maxine just woke up. Hi, sister. Do you want to come say
Oh,
hello?
oh, hello.
Yeah, you want to come say hi to John and the peoples? All right. Yes,
Oh,
yes.
hi, beauty.
Maxine is feeling much more confident these days and snuggly.
That's good.
Yeah, and she has a huge purr. Such a very beautiful. She's not sure about this, about the house sitter thing when I leave town, but she's she's.
Henry's waking up over there. He must have
Hello,
sensed her a bit.
Henry, from your biggest
Yeah.
fan. Yeah.
All right. Well, now that we've gone to the cats, well, I hope, thank you for doing this with me. And I hope, I still feel like there's something out there that could get educated or understood or deepened or more connected with the church and this work.
Yeah, I do too, and I'm always trying to figure out new ways to make it accessible to people. Um, I worry that I just, you know, kind of go off in my enthusiasm sometimes when I'm with church people and we start talking about it, and then they're just gonna feel like it's going to be easy for them to dismiss because I just have a bee in my bonnet or something. But um,
But
yeah,
maybe it's not with them. Maybe it's with the people that would be watching this.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have colleagues, as I say, who are working on it from different angles. I would love to find ways we can all cooperate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your nature and wildlife thing that, I know you're always imagining and working on, and it's being built out over years, I think is going to be part of that somehow. For
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Joan. Thanks.
Thanks, Maxine.
She says you're welcome. Right.
Such a beautiful girl.
She is. Ooh, big yawn. Good. Thanks, babe.